The mirror reflected a stranger, a woman with mascara-stained cheeks and trembling hands clutching an anniversary card that would never be given. I'm Olive, and this was supposed to be my perfect night. Just 3 hours earlier, I had been humming while setting our dining room table with the good china, the set Peter's mother had given us for our wedding. The candles were lit, casting a warm glow across the white tablecloth. 10 years of marriage deserved something special. "You're my biggest mistake." The words still rang in my ears, spoken so casually over the phone that at first I thought I'd misheard him. "What did you just say?" I had asked, my voice barely a whisper. "You heard me, Olive. I'm not coming home tonight, or ever." Peter's voice was cold, detached. "I've already moved my things out. The papers will be delivered tomorrow." The phone slipped from my hand, clattering against the hardwood floor. I stared at the perfectly arranged table, the stupid heart-shaped desserts I'd spent hours making, the expensive bottle of wine he'd never drink. "This has to be a joke," I said to the empty room. But the silence that answered told me everything. I grabbed my keys and drove to Bonnie's house, my vision blurred with tears. She opened the door, took one look at my face, and pulled me inside. "He's gone," I choked out. "He said I'm his biggest mistake." Bonnie's face changed for a split second. Something flickered in her eyes before she wrapped me in a hug. "Oh, honey, I don't understand." I sobbed into her shoulder. "Everything was fine. We were happy." "Were you?" Her question caught me off guard. "Really think about it, Olive. When was the last time you were truly happy?" The summer picnic flashed through my mind, Peter laughing, feeding me strawberries by the lake. But even that memory felt tainted now, like poison seeping through the edges. "I need to go home," I said suddenly. I need to think." Bonnie grabbed my arm. "Wait, maybe you shouldn't." But I was already out the door, driving through the darkness. As I turned onto our street, my headlights illuminated something impossible. Where our house should have been stood an empty lot, construction equipment scattered across bare earth. I slammed on the brakes, nearly hitting a "for sale" sign. This couldn't be real. We'd lived here for 8 years. Our home, my garden, our memories, everything was just gone. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. The truth hurts, doesn't it? I sat there, staring at our demolished life, and something inside me shifted. The tears dried on my cheeks. The pain in my chest hardened into something else, something sharp and dangerous. "You want to talk about mistakes, Peter?" I whispered to the darkness. "I'll show you what a real mistake looks like." I put the car in reverse, my hand steady on the wheel for the first time since his call. The woman in my rearview mirror wasn't a stranger anymore. She was someone I'd never met before, someone who wasn't afraid to fight back. I spent the night at Bonnie's, scrolling through our joint bank accounts on my phone. Every account, empty, 10 years of savings, gone. My hands shook as I dialed our bank. "Mrs. Fleming, the accounts were closed yesterday," the representative said. "Your husband had full authorization. And nobody thought to notify me." My voice cracked. "The paperwork was in order, ma'am. Both signatures were present." "Both signatures. I never signed anything." The realization hit me like a punch to the gut. Morning found me at our local bank branch, demanding to see the documents. The manager slid them across his desk, and there it was, my perfect signature on papers I'd never seen. "This is forgery," I said, pushing the papers back. "I want copies of everything." "I'm afraid we can't. Either you give me copies, or I'll have my lawyer here within the hour." I surprised myself with how steady my voice was. He blinked, then nodded. Back at Bonnie's, I spread the papers across her kitchen table. "Look at these dates," I said, pointing to various transactions. "He's been moving money for months." Bonnie picked up one of the documents, her face unreadable. "Olive, there's something you should know." "What?" She hesitated. "Last month, at the charity gala, I saw Peter with Aaron. Aaron, my assistant Aaron." The room started spinning. They looked close. I didn't want to say anything without being sure, but I grabbed my phone, pulling up my photos. There it was, the company Christmas party. Peter and Aaron in the background, his hand on her waist. How had I missed it? My phone buzzed. A text from Kian, Peter's best friend. We need to talk. Meet me at Carlo's in 30? At the coffee shop. Kian looked uncomfortable. Peter told me you're making things difficult. Difficult? I laughed, the sound harsh, even to my own ears. He demolished our house, emptied our accounts, and forged my signature. But I'm the difficult one. He said you'd say that. Kian wouldn't meet my eyes. Look, just sign the divorce papers when they come. Make it easy on yourself. Like he made things easy for me. I leaned forward. Tell me, Kian, did you help him plan this? His silence was answer enough. Back in my car, I found an envelope on my seat that hadn't been there before. Inside were documents, financial records, emails, photos. A note was attached. Thought you might need these. J. The documents revealed a web of lies so intricate it made me dizzy. Peter hadn't just been planning to leave. He'd been systematically destroying our life for over a year. My phone buzzed again. Erin, I'm sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen. I stared at her message, remembering how I'd helped her get the job, trained her, trusted her. The betrayal burned. But something else was rising through the ashes. Determination. Bonnie, I called as I walked back into her house. I need a lawyer, a good one. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. I might know someone. Her name is Jessica. I nodded, clutching the envelope of evidence. Peter thought he'd left me with nothing. He was about to learn how wrong he was. Jessica's office screamed power, all glass, chrome, and attitude. She flipped through my evidence, her red nails tapping against each document. Your husband's not just a cheater, she said, looking up. He's been running a sophisticated fraud scheme through your joint businesses. What? I leaned forward, gripping the armrests of my chair. These transfers. She spread out several papers. He's been siphoning money into shell companies for months. And guess who's listed as a co-owner on all the paperwork? My stomach dropped. Me. Bingo. Jessica's smile was sharp. He's setting you up to take the fall if anyone starts asking questions. A knock at the door interrupted us. Jessica's assistant handed her a file, whispering something in her ear. Jessica's eyes widened slightly. Well, this is interesting, she said after the assistant left. Your friend Kian just filed for bankruptcy protection. His accounts were drained last week. Peter, I whispered. He did the same thing to Kian. Not exactly. Jessica pulled out her phone, showing me a news article. Kian's company is under investigation for embezzlement. Your husband's name is all over the paperwork. As a whistleblower, my head spun. But they're best friends. Were, Jessica corrected. Look, Olive, this goes deeper than a simple divorce. We need to move fast. I left Jessica's office with a plan and a growing sense of dread. At the elevator, my phone buzzed. Erin again. Please meet me, her text read. There's more you need to know. I found her at a small park, nervously shredding a napkin. Her eyes were red from crying. I didn't know, she blurted before I could speak. About the fraud, the house, any of it. He told me you knew about us, that you were okay with divorce. Stop, my voice was ice. You really expect me to believe that? She pulled out her phone, hands shaking. Look at these messages. He told me you were separated, living apart. I only found out the truth when what? When he cleaned out my accounts too. She showed me her banking app, zero balance. He said it was temporary, for safekeeping. I was so stupid. I stared at her, seeing not the other woman, but another victim. How many others? At least 3 that I know of. She wiped her eyes. He has a pattern. Gain trust. Take control of finances. Then disappear. I finished. My phone rang. Jessica, get back here now, she said, without preamble. The FBI just called. They want to talk to you about Peter's activities. I looked at Erin, still clutching her phone with its empty accounts. Come with me, I said. She blinked. What? You're not the only one he fooled, but maybe together we can stop him from doing this to anyone else. As we drove back to Jessica's office, another text came through from an unknown number. You're digging too deep, Olive. Some stones are better left unturned. I showed it to Erin. She paled. That's exactly what he sent me before everything fell apart. I gripped the steering wheel tighter. Then we're on the right track. The threat didn't scare me, it made me more determined. Peter thought he could bury us. Instead, he'd given us the shovels to dig up his secrets. The FBI interview room was colder than I expected. Agent Morris spread photos across the table. Peter at charity galas, business meetings, yacht parties. Your husband's been busy, she said. These were taken over the last 6 months. Different cities, different women, same scam. I recognized some faces from our social circle. All these women, victims, Morris finished. But you're the first wife we've found. The others were girlfriends, business partners. A knock interrupted us. Another agent entered, whispering something to Morris. Her expression darkened. Ms. Fleming, do you know someone named Kian Foster? My stomach clenched. Yes. Why? He's dead. Car accident, early this morning. The room tilted. That's impossible. I just saw him yesterday. Brake lines were cut. Morris leaned forward. Does that sound like an accident to you? I left the FBI building shaking. Bonnie was waiting in her car. You look like you've seen a ghost, she said as I climbed in. Kian's dead. The words felt unreal. Peter killed him. Bonnie slammed on the brakes, pulling over. What? He knew too much. I showed her the photos Morris had let me keep. Peter's done this before, multiple times. Oh God. Bonnie's face went pale. Olive, there's something else you need to know. Jessica called while you were inside. What? She found connections between Peter and some dangerous people. She thinks the house demolition wasn't just about hurting you. She thinks he was destroying evidence. My phone buzzed. Erin, turn on the news now. Bonnie pulled up the news app on her phone. Peter's face filled the screen, standing at a podium. I come forward today as a whistleblower, he was saying. My wife, Olive Fleming, orchestrated a complex fraud scheme, manipulating multiple victims, including myself. That lying bastard. Bonnie grabbed my arm. He's trying to frame you. But I was watching the crowd behind Peter. There, partially hidden, stood Jessica. She wasn't looking at Peter, she was texting. My phone buzzed again. Jessica, don't panic, this is part of the plan. What plan? I texted back. The one where we catch him in his own trap. Meet me at my office. Bring Bonnie. As we drove, Bonnie kept glancing at me. You're taking this surprisingly well. Because for the first time, I see him clearly. I showed her Jessica's text. Peter thinks he's the smartest person in the room. That's his weakness. Jessica's office was dark when we arrived, except for one lamp. She wasn't alone. A man stood by the window, tall, familiar. Cameron, I gasped. My old college friend turned, his face grim. Hello, Olive. Sorry it took me so long to find you. What are you doing here? Helping Jessica build a case. He handed me a file. I've been tracking Peter for 2 years. You're not his first wife, or his second. The file contained marriage certificates, divorce papers, death certificates. 5 wives before me, 2 dead from accidents. Why didn't you warn me? My voice cracked. I tried. Cameron's eyes were sad. Every email, every call, he intercepted them all. But now we have him. Jessica finished. If you're ready to play your part. I looked at the evidence of Peter's past, thought of Kian's death, the demolished house, the stolen money. Tell me what to do. The courtroom fell silent as I took the stand. Peter sat at the defendant's table, wearing his favorite gray suit and that practiced, concerned expression I used to find so charming. Mrs. Fleming, his lawyer began, isn't it true that you handled all the household finances? No, I said clearly. Peter insisted on managing everything after our first year of marriage. Yet your signature appears on all these documents. He held up a stack of papers. Forgeries, I replied, just like the ones he used on his previous wives. Peter's face twitched. His lawyer quickly objected, but I'd seen it. That flash of panic. Jessica stood. Your Honor, I'd like to present new evidence. She played a video on the courtroom screen. It showed Peter in his office, practicing my signature over and over. The timestamp was from 3 months ago. "Where did you get that?" Peter burst out, then caught himself. "From me," Cameron said, standing up in the gallery. "I installed those cameras when you hired my security firm." Peter's composure cracked further. He whispered urgently to his lawyer. "There's more," Jessica announced. She nodded to the bailiff, who opened the courtroom doors. 3 women walked in. I recognized them from the FBI photos, Peter's previous victims, but the 4th woman made Peter's face go white. "Hello, darling," she said. "Surprised to see me alive?" "Rachel," Peter whispered. "Your second wife," Jessica explained to the judge. "The one whose death certificate Mr. Fleming forged after her convenient disappearance." The courtroom erupted. Peter's lawyer demanded a recess, but the damage was done. I watched Peter's carefully constructed world crumble, piece by piece. During the break, I found Rachel in the hallway. "How did they find you?" "Cameron did." She smiled sadly. "I've been hiding in Australia. When he explained about you, about the others, I knew I had to come back." "Did Peter try to kill you too?" "He pushed me off our boat. I was a strong swimmer. He didn't know that. When I surfaced, he was gone. I knew if I came forward, he'd finish the job." My phone buzzed. A text from Bonnie. "FBI just found the money, all of it. Hidden accounts in the Caymans." I showed Rachel, who laughed bitterly. "Same place he hid it last time." Back in court, Peter's lawyer requested a plea deal, but the judge wasn't having it. Given the evidence of multiple frauds, attempted murders, and the death of Mr. Foster, "I'm denying any plea arrangements," she declared. Peter finally looked at me, really looked at me, for the first time since this began. Gone was the charming mask, the controlled smile. I saw him for what he was, a cornered animal. "You've ruined everything," he hissed as they led him away. "No, Peter," I called after him. "You did that yourself." Outside the courthouse, Jessica handed me a document. "The accounts have been unfrozen. Everything's being returned to the victims." "And the house?" I asked. Cameron stepped forward. "Insurance is covering the rebuild, but—" He hesitated. "Maybe it's better to start fresh somewhere else." I looked at the document in my hands. My freedom, bought with truth instead of lies. "You know what?" I said. "I think you're right." My phone buzzed one last time. An unknown number. I almost didn't read it, but something made me look. "This isn't over." I showed it to Jessica, who smiled grimly. "No," she said. "But next time, we'll be ready." 3 days after the trial, Bonnie showed up at my hotel room in tears. "I have to tell you something," she said, pacing. "Something terrible." "What's wrong?" She pulled out her phone, showing me texts between her and Peter from months ago. My stomach dropped as I read them. "You knew," my voice shook, "all this time. He threatened my kids, Olive." Tears streamed down her face. "Said he'd make sure I lost custody if I warned you. I thought I was protecting them." "Get out." The words came out like ice. "Please, let me explain." "Get out." I slammed the door behind her, sliding down against it. My last trusted friend, another betrayal. My phone rang. "Cameron, turn on the TV, now." Breaking news. Peter had escaped during prisoner transport. 2 guards dead. A knock at my door made me jump. "Olive, it's Jessica." I opened the door to find Jessica and Cameron, both looking grim. "We need to move you," Cameron said. "Now." "He's coming for me, isn't he?" Jessica nodded. "We found this in his cell." She handed me a paper covered in my name, written over and over, getting more distorted with each line. "What about Rachel, the other women?" "Already in protective custody," Cameron assured me. "But there's something else. The guard who helped Peter escape. He used to work for my security firm." "What are you saying?" "Someone's been feeding Peter information, someone close to us." A text buzzed through. Unknown number. "Ask Jessica about the offshore accounts." I showed it to them. Jessica's face went pale. "What offshore accounts?" I demanded. "I can explain," she started. But Cameron cut her off. The money that was supposed to go back to the victims, he said. It never made it. Jessica redirected it. You're working with him? The betrayal felt like a physical blow. Not with him, Jessica snapped. Against him. That money was my insurance. My way out when this went bad. When what went bad? Another text. Check her desk drawer, left side. Cameron moved first, yanking open Jessica's desk. Inside lay photos. Surveillance shots of me, dating back months before Peter left. You've been watching me. Why? Jessica's professional mask cracked. Because Peter paid me to, in the beginning. But then I saw what he really was, what he did to those women. I was going to help you, really help you, but the money was better. I finished. Everyone has a price, she said softly. Even you. What's that supposed to mean? Ask Cameron about the cameras. Ask him why he really installed them. I turned to Cameron, who wouldn't meet my eyes. I was hired too, he admitted. By Peter's first wife's family. They wanted evidence. I've been tracking him for years, watching him destroy lives, including yours. And you never thought to warn me? I tried. But then I saw an opportunity. If we let him take everything from you, you used me as bait, I whispered. The room felt too small, too full of lies. My phone buzzed again. Now you see the truth. Everyone wants something. Meet me at midnight. Come alone, or they all die. You know where? I did know. The lake house, where he'd first told me he loved me. Olive, Cameron reached for me, but I stepped back. Don't follow me, I said. Either of you. It was time to end this, on my terms. The lake house stood dark against the midnight sky. My headlights caught the reflection of another car, Peter's new Mercedes. Of course, he'd bought himself a gift with stolen money. I stepped onto the creaking porch, my hand brushing the gun in my pocket. Rachel's parting gift. For protection, she'd said. Hello, darling. Peter's voice came from the darkness. A lamp clicked on, revealing him seated in his favorite armchair. Surprised, I remembered our special place. Nothing about you surprises me anymore. He smiled, that charming, deadly smile. No? Not even this? The side door opened. Bonnie walked in, eyes downcast. Really? I laughed bitterly. Another betrayal. I'm getting used to those. She's been quite helpful, Peter said, keeping me informed about your every move. Even that touching scene in your hotel room was scripted. He has my kids, Olive, Bonnie whispered. I'm so sorry. A new voice said. Cameron stepped through the front door, gun raised. Your children are safe, Bonnie. FBI has them. Peter's smile didn't waver. Cameron, right on time. What? Did you really think I didn't know about the cameras? Peter stood slowly. About your little crusade? I've been playing you all from the start. Drop the gun, another voice commanded. Jessica emerged from the kitchen, her weapon trained on Cameron. You too? I asked, though I wasn't surprised anymore. Sorry, Olive. Peter's offer was too good to refuse. Was it worth Kian's life? I asked quietly. Peter laughed. Kian killed himself, couldn't handle the guilt of betraying his best friend. Pathetic, really. Like you'd know anything about friendship, I spat. No, he agreed. But I know about winning, and I always win. Not this time. Rachel's voice rang out as she stepped from behind a curtain, gun aimed at Peter. Remember me, darling. Peter's composure cracked. You're dead. You're a terrible swimmer, Peter. Never could tell when someone was faking drowning. It's over, Cameron said. FBI is outside. We've been broadcasting this whole conversation. Peter's eyes darted around the room, looking for escape. Then he smiled again. If I'm going down, he said, I'm taking you with me. He pulled out a detonator. Remember our renovation project, Olive? The basement's rigged to blow. One click, and the gunshot was deafening. Peter looked down at his chest, surprised, then at me, holding Rachel's smoking gun. You shot me, he said, almost wonderingly. Then he collapsed. FBI, everybody down. The room erupted in chaos. Agents poured in. Jessica dropped her weapon. Bonnie burst into tears. Cameron moved to secure Peter. "He's alive," Cameron called. "Get a medic." I stood still, gun hanging loosely in my hand, as an agent gently took it from me. "Mrs. Fleming." Agent Morris appeared at my side. "Are you all right?" I watched them handcuff Peter, Jessica, saw Bonnie being led out to her children, Rachel giving her statement. "No," I said honestly, "but I will be." "You know this was all recorded?" Morris said. "Clear case of self-defense. He confessed to everything." I nodded, feeling nothing but emptiness, as they carried Peter out on a stretcher. "Olive?" Cameron touched my arm. "It's really over." But as they loaded Peter into an ambulance, his eyes opened. He looked straight at me and smiled. My phone buzzed one final time. "Round 1 goes to you." The prison visiting room was cold and sterile. Peter sat across from me, orange jumpsuit stark against his pale skin. The bandage on his chest peeked out beneath his collar. "My parting gift. Come to gloat?" he asked. "No, I came to return something." I placed his wedding ring on the table. "Found it in the lake house debris." His eyes flickered. "Sentimental of you. Actually, the FBI needed it." The hidden compartment was clever. All those SD cards with evidence, lists of accounts, names of conspirators. The smirk fell from his face. "Jessica's singing like a bird." I continued, "Trading information for a lighter sentence. The others too. It's amazing how quickly your friends turn when they're facing life in prison." "What do you want, Olive?" "To understand. Was any of it real? Ever?" He leaned forward. "Would it make you feel better if I said yes?" "No, but at least it would be the truth, for once." "The truth?" He laughed. "The truth is, you were perfect. Trusting, naive, desperate to be loved. The perfect mark. And now?" "Now?" His eyes hardened. "Now you're just like me." I stood up. "No, Peter. I'm nothing like you. Because after today, I'll never think about you again." "Liar," he called as I walked away. "I'm under your skin. Always will be." I paused at the door. "Check your mail tomorrow. My lawyer sent something special." Outside, Rachel waited in her car. "How'd it go?" "Exactly as expected." I buckled my seatbelt. "He still thinks he has power over me." "And the papers?" "Divorce documents, signed. Plus paperwork transferring everything to his victims' compensation fund." I smiled. "He doesn't know it yet, but he's about to become as penniless as he left us." My phone buzzed. "Cameron, just got word. Peter's international accounts found. All funds recovered." "Good news?" Rachel asked. "The best." I showed her the text. "Every cent he stole, returned to every person he hurt." "Including you?" "I don't want his money. I want peace," she finished. "Yeah." I looked at the prison, shrinking in the rearview mirror. "Speaking of which, ready for our new adventure?" Rachel grinned. "The support group's already got 20 members, all survivors of financial fraud and abuse. They need leaders who understand." "Then let's not keep them waiting." My phone buzzed again. Unknown number. My heart skipped until I read it. "This is Agent Morris. Peter attempted suicide after your visit. He's alive, but comatose. Thought you should know." I deleted the message without responding. "Everything okay?" Rachel asked. "Perfect," I said, and meant it. "Let's go help some people take their lives back." The sun was setting as we drove away, painting the sky in fierce oranges and reds. My wedding ring had left a pale band on my finger, but even that was fading. "You know what the best revenge is?" Rachel asked suddenly. "What's that?" "Living well and helping others do the same." I thought about the support group waiting for us, about all the women like us who needed to know they weren't alone, weren't powerless. "Then let's go live well," I said, pressing the accelerator. The prison disappeared behind us as we drove toward something better than revenge. Purpose. And for the first time since this all began, I didn't look back.